Right, so for my top tip, I am going to talk about the map room. Um, First thing to say about the tip for the map room is when you get to a competition, after you've sorted your horse out, go to the map room with a map or with your mapping app so that you can see on a map exactly where the map room is. So that will help you when the competition starts and you go into the map room for real, that you'll sort of have a picture in your head of what the map room and the start will look like. The other thing that I'll do when I'm there before the competition has actually started is have a look from the map room to where any potential routes out of the venue are, and I will translate those routes in my head to where they are on the map, so that if I'm in the map room and I'm marking down the route, I'll sort of have a good idea about where I'm going as soon as I've come out of the map room and picked my horse up. So one of the other things that I will also do when I'm at the map room is I will make sure that I know which grid square the map room is. So I'll go to the map and I will find out which grid square the sort of the venue is. And then again, when I go in the map room, once I've got the master maps there, I'll know where to start looking for the start, and that will save me a few seconds when I get into the map room. Not all the master maps will have the grid lines on them, but probably about 70–80% of the time that they will be there, and it is very useful for actually finding the start and just making sure that you use all your time in the map room effectively. So the equipment that I take in, obviously we've got the pens, very important. I take pens of at least 2 colours. I personally like to use a pink for most of my route. I also have a orange, which I tend to use. If a route is a figure of 8 or goes out and back over the same area, I'll use my pink for going out, and then I'll switch to using my orange for coming back, probably about a kilometre before the routes actually sort of cross or get very close, so that I sort of make sure that I don't end up accidentally going the wrong way round. I have different thicknesses of nibs. I tend to use a 0.5 nib for most of my markup, which will translate to a 12.5 metre line on the ground. I have a 0.7. I only tend to use the 0.7 on bridleways and tracks, because a 0.7 is sort of 17.5 metres wide, so you're sort of drawing a line which is almost as wide as a dressage arena. I use a 0.25 for little sort of fiddly areas, particularly if you're going into woodland or in a field and there isn't a track. Then I'll use my 0.25 because my 0.25 nib is only 10 meters on the ground. So you have to think about the sort of the thickness of the line that you're marking on the map, so you can have an idea to think about the accuracy at which you're able to ride to as well. Again, that's probably not so important at level 1, level 2, where you're going to be mainly on a track, but in level 3, 4, when you're likely to be going off piste, clearly a 17.5 metre corridor has got quite a lot of opportunities to miss a ticket on, whereas if the line you're sort of drawing is only 10 meters wide, then it is sort of much more accurate. So pens, very important. I also have a highlighter to highlight any sort of particular sort of what I think might be tricky areas, and my sort of convention is where I've actually drawn my highlighter, along my line, I know that I need to start walking at that point because there's something difficult or tricky that I need to keep an eye out for. I take my Roma. Roma's only needed really for level 3, level 4. And I take my acetate. So this is a piece of acetate for which I've sort of put tiny little sort of slits in at kilometre distances. So these are 4 centimetres apart. So I can use this for marking up my distances to help me with my speeds. And I have a tiny little screwdriver which I got out of a Christmas cracker that I use as a pin to make sure that I can be accurate when I'm actually marking up my distances. I obviously have my glasses because I'm over 40, and I have my trusty magnifying glass, and I have a magnifying glass that has a light the other side, very useful for dark map rooms. Other things that are important really for level 3, level 4 is my tracing paper. Again, you don't need tracing paper level 1, level 2, particularly maybe not even for level 3, but level 4 it's very useful. And I have put grid squares on my tracing paper again, so I can align my tracing paper onto my master map if I do have to use my tracing paper. Now, I'm not going to go into how we use the tracing paper at this clip because it's sort of a bit out of scope, but if one of the others don't go through that later on, I will go through that with you. So, important equipment: glasses, Roma, pens, something to measure the distance. I use my acetate. Other people will use a piece of string. I have my tracing paper and my trusty magnifying glass. So the important thing for the map room is that you have a routine so that you don't forget anything, and that's important through all levels. Now, my routine is that I will get to the map room 10 minutes early. That's so that I'm not going into the map room sort of at a rush, feeling stressed. It gives me time to sort of sit and think. Outside the map room, I can then look for any examples of tickets, and I can just sort of get myself in order and get my pens out. Once I go into the map room, my order for doing things is, first of all, to check for the speed, and I will write that down. If I can't write it down on the back of a map, I will write it on the back of my hand. Excuse me while I move my cat out of the way. So I will check the speed. What I will then do, if it's a competition where we are leaving the map room and getting straight onto our horse, I will take my control card from the table, if they've left it on the table, and put it in my pocket first thing. So again, when I leave the map room, I'm not going to leave it behind, and I'm not at risk of sort of going out without my control card, because I'll get many penalties if I do that. Clearly, if it's a competition where they're going to give me my record card at the start, then I don't need to worry about that. And the same sometimes for the speed as well. The speed may sometimes be at the start. If it's a competition where you go in the map room, go away, tack your horse up, and then come back to the map room. So the first thing I will do is find the start. So I'll go to the map and I will look for my grid square and find the start. The second thing that I will do is I will check to look for the arrows to tell me which way the route is going round. That's very important because you don't want to be going the wrong way round. And also it is much better to draw the route in the direction in which you're going to be travelling, because then it allows you to pick up the difficulties. A route is always different going in a different direction. The tickets and difficulties will be different going clockwise than anti-clockwise, so you want to be able to copy the map in the direction which you're going to be travelling. As I've said, I will do my going out very often in my pink, and if the route comes back in a different direction, I will use my orange for coming back. After I have done that, once I've got all the routes down, only then will I think about measuring the distances. And sometimes if I'm going across an area, say across a field off a track, I may use my roamer to measure just exactly how far I've got to go across an open area before I have to turn in the map room if I've got time. Now, the other tip I've got for the map room is to mentally rehearse your map room routine. So again, you don't forget anything. What I tend to do is I'll often think about the previous competition that I went to, and I'll rehearse going into the map room, finding the start, finding those arrows, starting to draw my route, and exactly what I did, including picking up my record card. And again, that's to sort of drill in all those important things. And I think mental rehearsal for the map room is definitely a top tip that I can give everybody at all levels, because it just means that once you go into a map room, it just takes away quite a lot of bit of that stress. I think that's everything. So as I say, top tips: go to the map room before you start, find the map room on your map or on your mapping app, have a look at all the potential routes outside of the venue from the map room, and mentally rehearse your map room routine once you've actually got one. The routine that I have might not be the right one for everybody, but just make sure you have a routine and practice it, mentally rehearse it, because that will really help you when you're actually going into a competition, and it'll help with all of those map room nerves.